Hi everyone, this is Ms.Paracholski, and I have another fun read out loud for everyone to listen to this week. Now, because it's almost the end of school, I'm not going to ask you to do any writing or any activity about this fun book. I just want you to listen because I've seen all the work you've been doing, and there's been tons of science these last few weeks. We've done plant science, so you've learned about roots and stems and everything cool like that. So this book is about a young scientist just like you, and it's called Ada Twist, Scientist. And I want you to sit back, enjoy. It's a bit of a longer book, but I hope it will make you think about how you can be a scientist over the summer. Enjoy. Okay, let's get ready to read Ada Twist, Scientist, written by Andrea Beaty and illustrated by David Roberts. Oh, it looks pretty cool already. Ada Twist, Scientist. Ada Marie, said not a word till the day she turned 3. She bounced in her crib and looked all around, observing the world, but not making a sound. She learned how to climb and made her big break with a trail of chaos left in her wake. She ran through the day, chasing each sound and sight, and didn't slow down till she conked out at night. Now, a quick pause here. I think this book is similar to some of the poems you've been writing, and some of the words rhyme. I think that's pretty cool. Let's learn more about Ada. Her parents were frazzled, but tried not to freak, as Ada grew bigger and still did not speak. Clearly, young Ada, with lots in her head, would have something to say when it ought to be said. Uh-oh, her parents do look a little bit concerned over there. That's just what happened when Ada turned 3. She tore through the house on a fact-finding spree and climbed up the clock as high as she could. Her parents yelled, "Stop!" as any good parents would. Ada's chin quivered, but she did not cry. She took a deep breath and simply asked, "Why?" Wow, look how high Ada is on that clock. That's pretty dangerous. Why does it tick and why does it talk? Why don't we call it a granddaughter clock? Why are there pointy things stuck in a rose? Oops. And why are there hairs inside your nose? She started with why, and then what, how, and when. By bedtime, she came back to why once again. She drifted to sleep as her dazed parents smiled at the curious thoughts of their curious child, who wanted to know what the world was about. They kissed her and whispered, "You'll figure it out." Wow, look at all the illustrations. Ada does have a lot of things she's wondering about. Her parents kept up with their high-flying child, whose questions and chaos both grew as she did. I think in the second picture, Ada's learning about the solar system. I know there's a few students in Mrs. Hicks and Mrs. Chauncey's class who are really into space right now. So Ada's pretty similar to you. Even Miss Greer found her hands were quite full when young Ada's chaos wreaked havoc at school. But this much was clear about Miss Ada Twist. She had all the traits of a great scientist. Cool experiment. Ada was busy that first day of spring. She tested the sounds that make mockingbirds sing, when a horrible stench, which means smell, whacked her right in the nose, a pungent aroma that curled up her toes. Ew. "Zowie," said Ada, which got her thinking. What is the source of the terrible stinking? How does a nose know there's something to smell? And does it stink if there's no nose to tell? She rattled off questions and tapped on her chin. She'd start at the start where she ought to begin. A mystery, a riddle, a puzzle, a quest. This was the moment that Ada loved best. Ada did research to learn all she could of smelling and smells, both the stinky and good. One hypothesis Ada thought could be true. The terrible stink came from Dad's cabbage stew. She tested and tested, but soon Ada knew it was time to come up with hypothesis 2. Now, quick pause for those of you who don't know. When you're doing a scientific experiment, like Ada is right now, you create a hypothesis, which basically is like a guess or a prediction of what might be going on. Very scientific, though. And you'll learn this in older grades. Then, zowie, the stink struck again, just like that. Hypothesis 2. It's caused by the cat. The cat couldn't make a stink on its own. It needed perfume and some fancy cologne. So young Ada tested. The test was a flop. She started again, but her parents yelled, "Stop!" Why would her parents be yelling stop? Let's look at that second image and see what's happened to the cat. Uh-oh. Ada Marie, to the thinking chair, now! By the time we count to 3. Enough, said her mother. That's it, said her dad. Her parents were frustrated, frazzled, and mad. Why? Ada questioned. Her mother said, no. What? Anna inquired. Her father said, go. You've ruined our supper. You've made the cat stink. Enough with your questions. Now sit there and think. She looked at her parents. Her heart turned to goo. Poor Ada Twist didn't know what to do. Poor kid. I think she's in trouble. She sat all alone by herself in the hall, and Ada once again could say nothing at all. And so Ada sat, and she sat, and she sat, and she thought about science and stew and the cat, and how her experiments made such a big mess. Does it have to be so? Is that part of the success? Are messes a problem? And while she was thinking, she was the source of the terrible stinking. Ada Marie did what scientists do. She asked a small question, and then she asked 2. And each of those questions led her to 3 questions more, and some of those questions resulted in 4. As Ada got thinking, she really dug in. She scribbled her questions and tapped on her chin. And she started at why, and then what, how, and when. And the end of the hall, she reached why once again. Is Ada scribbling on the wall? Let's find out. Her parents calmed down and came back to talk. They looked at the hallway and just had to gawk. No patch of bare paint could be seen on the wall. The thinking chair was the great thinking hall. They watched their young daughter and sighed as they did. What would they do with their curious kid who wanted to know all about the world was about? They smiled and whispered, we'll figure it out. Look at all that thinking on the wall. That's crazy. And that's what they did, because that's what you do when your kid has a passion and a heart that is true. They remade their world. Now they're all in the act of helping young Ada sort fiction from fact. She asked lots of questions. How could she resist? It's all in the heart of a young scientist. So a quick pause. If you look at the images, I think the parents did a really, really nice thing and rearranged their house so instead of writing on the wall, Ada could write on a big, big, big chart paper, kind of like we have in school. That's awesome. And as for the smell, what can Ada Twist do but learn all she can with her friends in grade 2? Will they discover the stink that curls toes? Well, that is the question, and someday, who knows? The end. Okay, friends, thank you so much for listening to Ada Twist, Scientist. I really enjoyed that book, and I hope it inspired you to do some scientific thinking of your own this summer. Maybe you go on a nature walk, do some scientific drawing, or maybe you even watch some fun YouTube videos about things you're curious about. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you soon. Bye.